Right, welcome back, and definitely we are in very blessed days. But tonight, and let's get back to our topic, and let me here welcome our guest, Dr. Amany Howla, social NGO expert, and thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
I guess it's a happy Eid, because it's just, it will be just after tomorrow.
Yeah, a few hours.
And all your beloved. Right, so we're speaking tonight about projects that have been carried out during the past 9 years. We've seen lots and lots of sustainable development projects, and we've seen lots and lots of preparations for such projects to take place. We've seen a number of national developmental projects taking place, starting with the mega one, the medium one, and others. If we start, let me here take your reading to the track the government and the state has taken during that period.
You mentioned something very important when you said throughout these 9 years, the preparation of the projects. Actually, we used not to recognize the preparations. This is one of the very important points. Even President Sisi mentioned it in Paris, because we used to lose interest and trust in our leaders because of the huge promises with very low or a few implementation of the promises. So he used not to talk much about what he is doing, but he is just surprising us with launching of many projects. For people, this has a very positive point, but it has a negative also side, because people start to feel that these projects are easy to make. They are something.
You mean here that it was a double-edged issue, that working hard but not announcing?
Yeah, but people didn't understand how much time and money and efforts have been already done to achieve this projects. But I understand his point of view, because we used to hear a lot of promises without any achievements. He was trying to change the image of the behavior of the status to the people. But now people start to understand and to discover. But I hope...
realizing the fact that let me here get out a little bit out of the issue, but since day one, when the president said that he would nominate himself for presidency, he said, but you will work with me, and I will wake up at 5 in the morning. Will you be able to do that? And then he started working with no note at all, without speaking much.
Yeah.
So it was, and in a way, in a hurry, and everything was accelerated. The track so far, and preparing the ground with infrastructure, because we started making the infrastructure not from scratch. Actually, there were already infrastructure, but a very deteriorated. Yes. So how do you view the track the government has taken so far in those steps?
We can say that we're about to finish the dirty work, or the hard part of the developmental process. We can just give a simple example, like if we are renovating a house. We have a terrible time suffering from the dust and the bringing the materials, and everything is upside down until we start to reach a level of the finishing touches. But we start to feel relaxed, feel the organized place. This is what we are passing through in the projects, because we are changing, making radical changes actually in most of the sectors, including infrastructures, including all the activities, including even the industrial sector, agriculture. all of them were deteriorated. And you know, when you start from the zero, sometimes it's much better than trying to improve something already there. Repairing something sometimes is much difficult than initiating something from the beginning. This is the equation he was struggling to achieve, and in the same time we have actually international crisis cast its shadows on our economy, starting from acts of God like Corona, like a war between two big countries. We depend on them in many of our agricultural products. You have challenges around while you are still working. This is a very difficult equation, I think, and we're achieving great efforts and great results in comparison with what we have already.
Let me take it from here, and yes, definitely there are lots and lots of challenges and even threats with certain pressures that we are facing, but the whole world is in this trouble. But let me get back to what we were speaking about, and here the state adopted this strategic plan of building Egypt horizontally and vertically. I mean, here from the very north to the very south, and from the very east to the very west. How do you view that? How do you view those steps taken in order to go ahead and accelerate with the Sustainable Development Goal, but across all the governorates of Egypt at the same time?
You mentioned something very important. When you are trying to market yourself, to make yourself looking great and an achievable person, or you are working hard and honestly you want to change the reality of people and make their life much better. Most of the previous experiences, they used just to take care of the main cities, the capital and the big cities, and ignoring the other urban and countryside, and especially the Upper Egypt.
Upper Egypt.
Yeah.
We're also speaking about Sinai, which has not seen development in the
Sinai. We have
before that period. We're speaking about Aswan and the very south that who were very much not even noticed. So, how do you view that?
This is the difficult part, actually, and I am surprised that Sisi can fight in this side, especially when we have also, unfortunately, part of our, we can call it Cold War or the fourth generation war around
we exceeded the fourth generation, by the way. We're in the fifth and the sixth.
But unfortunately, we have just some of the we cannot say citizens, actually, because I consider them as enemies, actually working inside and trying to penetrate our community, especially the Brotherhood and their group. He used to actually face very strong challenges, and I think we now celebrating Sinai back after all the sufferings used to be there. Also the Toshka and Aswan,
and Aswan and Luxor.
The treasures of Egypt were starting to open for us. Even the new gold mountain we discovered in the south. Great achievements starting to happen when we start to take care of the whole country, not only the big cities, and trying to have the concept of justice. It's unfair to take care of the certain areas and ignore the others and let them suffering all these decades.
When we speak about developmental projects, we spoke about the infrastructure and the importance of preparing the ground with roads, access, and highways, and all that. How about new cities? New cities, and why it was inevitable that we carry out with projects as such.
We can mention the great efforts happening in coordinating and making like a network of the infrastructures and the bridges and the highways to minimize the costs of many activities, especially industrial. It will make big difference to the all the activities when you have means of transportations in better condition and minimizing the cost of. This makes already a great jump in industrial areas, especially in 6th of October, Al-Ashr min Ramadan, even Tarbol, the new, one of the new great cities actually, which is one of the biggest industrial cities, will be in comparison with the whole big
Actually, I was speaking about residential and definitely industrial areas or compounds that are being, but I was speaking of the new cities at large. And the overgrowth of population and how that has helped. We'll be speaking about that, but let me here take a very quick break and we'll come back.